close me down here?
Yep.
All right.
Yep. I'm gonna shut you down.
Okay, everything's live streamed. Your closed captioning is on, your YouTube is on, your recording is on. Kevin, you can hear us okay? Kevin, can you hear us?
Yes.
Perfect. All right,
Okay.
the microphone's on. You can hear him all right?
Yep, and we're live.
And yep, you're live, and over here is the end button.
Okay,
All right.
thanks,
Good
Dave.
night.
Thanks, yeah.
Oh, it's right here on the wall. Is it there? Okay, thank you. See it? Yep, yep.
I'll call to order a special meeting for Board of Zoning Appeals of the Town of Harper's Ferry. It is June 28th. June 29th, thank you, 5:30 p.m. I am David Simmons, the chairman. With me are the vice chair, Ed Wheelis, and the secretary, Lynn Petriconis. Absent is Chad Goody, who last minute could not make it. Today's agenda is simply to look at the HICE application for 103 Potomac Street and just decide where variances are and what information you may need, basically. Is there anything else you two would like to add to the agenda?
No.
Okay. Kevin, glad you're here. Thanks for joining. I should also say Kevin Hamilton is here via Zoom, and he is the ordinance compliance officer for the town of Harper's Ferry.
Thank you.
In my head, I was going to go through element by element of the application. We can talk about it, see what parts of Appendix A we need to think about, and see if we have enough information to have the hearing July 11th. That makes sense to you guys. My first look was it's not a contributing structure. You guys agree with that?
I think this is the back of a contributing structure.
I was wondering about that. So do we?
I think the address is High Street for the contributing structure.
Okay. No, that wouldn't it be?
Down there at South Street.
This is down by the stone house being.
Okay. Okay. Should we ask somebody to confirm that?
Have you looked into that, Kevin?
Yes, the address for that is High Street. That is back of the stone structure there on High Street. It's the back of it.
Yeah, I can pull up a picture.
So but it's owned by two different.
No, Mary Heiss owns the building.
The building, single lot.
Her lot goes from High Street down to Potomac Street.
Okay. Okay. So it is a contributing structure. That is very important to me. Okay. So in my order, I was going to do door, siding, roof, then the windows, because the windows are most complex, I think. Just trying to track them. Do you guys want to do a different order than that, or is that okay? So it's going from a single door to a double door. 17?
HF percent. HF percent.
Right.
Brown HF 7.
The number 7.
Okay.
Brown HF 7.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so single door to double door. I think the phrase in the I'm not sure. The second door is walnut finish, similar in color to the front door. So I'm assuming it's wood, but I'm not sure. I could find that the materials are in here. Kevin, are the materials of the door in the
Yes, unfortunately, I don't have it in front of me. I just got home. The material of the door should be in that packet you have there.
Yeah, so it says fur texture. Okay, I see something that says fur textured fiberglass.
Yeah.
Is that what, right? Okay, so,
It's a wooden door, that's all I remember.
okay. So it's made of fiberglass. And then the exterior says flush glazed fiberglass. So you got the materials of it, okay. That's enough to look at. And then we can look under doors. So that's the back side of that building. Okay,
This is Stonehouse B and B.
Yeah, okay.
okay. That's helpful. And yet it has a different address. Why?
Perhaps I don't know that 103 is a valid address for emergency, or maybe it is, maybe they assign it to address.
Okay. Is that gonna matter for record keeping?
And that's it for the back.
Yeah,
Yeah. And if you look at a plat, there's only one building, there's not
yeah,
two
Yeah.
buildings. I think we probably ought to include both.
okay. We can confirm that during the hearing with the owner.
Or if we have a list of questions, maybe we can supply them in advance.
That's even better. I think we have enough information for the door. Page 19 of Appendix A has the door information. I guess the visual nature of this one, like the concept of being seen by from the right of way. I guess this is visible from the right of way, right? Yep. So we're gonna have to treat it that way. Okay. Okay. I wouldn't call this the principal facade, right?
No.
Principal facade is on.
Well, I mean, it could be argued that it has two principal facades since they go front on the street, but in what sense did you?
Well, I'm looking at number 5 on standards for historic resources. It says doors shall not be added to a principal facade. So
Well, the door exists. I think 3 is probably the more relevant, that the size of the door
Right.
opening shall not be enlarged.
Right.
Except for ADA compliance, and we don't know, that hasn't been expressed.
Okay.
So just based on that, I think a variance would be needed for the double doors.
Yeah, I think that is true for number 3, basically. So this is number 2 also. I don't know if that really applies. It says entrances and doors that are original shall be repaired as needed.
Well, that's a big question I have about about how much of this rear facade is historic, that does not look like a historic portion. So I don't think we're likely preserving anything here.
Has it already been replaced?
Right.
It looks like
So-
it might be a steel door.
And then the other, at the bottom of that one, it says replacement doors shall convey the same visual appearance as the original, which we don't know. Or be compatible in style for the period of the structure. That's number 2, bottom of number 2. So do we point these out in a communication to the applicant and say, for the hearing, please be prepared to discuss or defend or.
Yeah, I was looking at the variance section. And my understanding is that to allow a variance, the applicant has to show some hardship that was not brought on by themselves. So,
Right.
and they ask them to defend what hardship is being addressed by
These two.
changing the floor of them.
Right. Kevin, I think there's not a variance request form on the application, is there?
No, I don't believe there is.
Yeah, so I think at this point, by the end of this meeting today,
Yes.
I think
Request one.
I'll call, yeah, I'll put together an email to you that just says, we see the following variances are needed, so they know exactly what to address.
Okay, that'll work.
Yeah, help you do that, and then they can get that form in and start thinking about, and I'll probably try to think, our variance request form is just references the ordinance. I think it's better to list the 4 items of a variance in there for people to see. It's like, I don't think it's on the form itself. So I might add that to the email to you, Kevin.
Okay.
All right. So at least number 3. Compatible in style for the period of the structure. I'm not sure I'm so qualified to know that personally. I don't know when that you guys feel.
You mean double doors?
Well, just the bottom of number 2 says replacement doors shall be compatible in style for the period of the structure or the same visual appearance as the original. So if we don't have a picture of the original, right? Or maybe they come up with it and says, looks just like what I'm putting in. Okay. But what if they're just being asked to make something compatible in style for the period of the structure? What does that look like? I don't know the answer to that. That's the bottom of number 2, the sentence at the bottom of number 2, their standards.
Yeah, I'm trying to get a good view of what was used on Chris Porter's.
I don't know. Chris.
Instead house movie.
Oh,
Google came by from the door with food plants.
Oh, great. And he's rebuilt the whole back.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
those look like similar French doors.
divided light. Simulate divided light, actual divided light, I don't know. Yeah.
Not that that means that that was correct, but
It's a reference point.
I know the date, the year, approximately when this building was built.
1830, I believe. I can look it up.
So I see the original size and number 3, and then the compatibility is number 2. Two things we want will convey to the applicant after this meeting. Okay.
I think it's 156 High Street, circa 1820, according to the inventory.
Okay. Confirm.
156.
Oh, wait, that looks like in the picture to be stone house. Yeah, that's stone house, so. I can zoom in as a number. 152.
No, I've lived here for so long. I did not realize Washington Street became High Street down there. That is really bad.
Is it at Clay Street where it switches?
Church.
Or right
Church,
around.
Church, yeah.
It's like strong.
So it's 1836, 154 High Street.
152. I believe, let's see.
I've got the stone house is 156. But I'm not sure. Side hall building, stucco exterior, asphalt shingle roof, and rubble stone foundation. 2.5-story feature theory base. 202 door home sash windows. Flush gable. You're saying 152. Okay.
She has it listed as one of 3 Potomac.
Right. Which is would be the address on the back of it.
And 148. 148 looks like it's the yellow brick one. It's like is that the facade? It's kind of a bad picture. You see it now. Here.
If that's Stonehouse, then that's the right one.
Yeah.
So
Maybe it's right next to a stone, and then it's next to something yellow, I think. Or no, it's got an open side. Is it painted on the side? Perhaps. Anyway, we can confirm with the applicant. I think it might be 154 or 152. And I've got, yeah, so this is the database that Guy Hammer sent, has.
Okay,
And I have it built 1836,
okay.
and you said you had 18.
Oh, I was going by the address that Google Maps assigned to it, which was actually the address for the stone house, so.
Okay. But not that 16 years makes a difference for the period.
Now, does that map show it as contributing, or does he only not contribute?
What is the name of this entire database? I don't know for sure. I think it's generally a map of historic. So it's
Maybe that's a question for him.
Yeah,
How would it not be since it's so old?
yeah, I know. At the bottom of the guidelines for historic resources too, it says utilitarian or service entrances should not be altered to appear to be formal entrances. Paneled doors, stand lights, and side lights should not be used for utilitarian or service entrances. I don't know what to call this entrance. Is it utilitarian or service? Think of it that way.
Well, I think the style of the doors is certainly reminiscent to me of something you might see on an institutional building like a school from the period. That's just a swag. I think it's hard to tell because it's all black. You don't see any detail of the trim work, but it just from the silhouette that we see here, it looks more appropriate than the door that's on there.
Should we ask for a better picture? Like
Well, I might be able to look it up. I was able to look up windows.
Is there something that tells us, like, these are the pictures that were submitted, but do we know if the door is going to widen to the right or to the left or on the
I
center?
don't think that kind of details.
yeah. So more better sketch of the door position.
Oh, well, there's this,
Right.
but I'm not sure that helps me.
The scale or anything. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I don't understand what this grid is showing either. Says I think that's OSB. So I don't know what that is.
I was just wondering if it might, push over closer to that window.
Mhm.
If there's not, it looks like there's not as much room on the left side as there is on the right side. Between the ways of like the street illusion.
So I'm gonna request a better sketch to scale showing door and window positions. Is that? All right, so I've got for doors anyway, better sketch to scale, photo of the actual door, and then the justification for the two variance issues that we've identified. Does that make sense? Are we leaving anything out?
The two issues being why it has to be expanded and
Yeah.
if it fits the style of the period.
Yep.
Okay.
Bottom of number 2 and then all of number 3.
Okay.
Are we ready to move on from doors? Okay, siding. So we use hardy plank. I saw a color in there. I think anything will be appreciated.
Yeah, on the sketch, it says khaki brown.
Yeah. For historic research, sign as original shall be repaired rather than replaced. It's the original. Historic siding shall not be concealed beneath synthetic materials such as vinyl and masonry. So we do know what's underneath these shingles.
Well, the upper floor looks to be stucco. I don't know.
Where are you? Let's see. You mean up above this? Up above here?
Yes.
So door?
There's a roof. The upper floor is set back.
Okay.
So is that like asphalt that's on there now? At the door level? And then there's some kind of like cedar shingles
Yeah.
on that. This is the basic of it.
Yeah, and this one, I think this is a roof line, so that
Okay.
third level is set back.
Okay.
So from the angle of that photo.
You can't even see it.
Yeah. Let's see. And there's 2 dormers. Okay, I see 1 dormer in the picture here. So there's okay. So historic siding shall not be concealed beneath synthetic materials. So do we shall we request something related to the what's behind the shingling, basically?
Yeah, we could inquire, but I'm inclined to say that the original siding is compromised from Austin, so we're not dealing with the original side. No, it's Austin.
Yeah. When replacement is necessary, the new siding shall match the original siding in size, placement, texture, material, and design. We don't know what that original is, so
I'm gonna say the original siding's probably underneath them asphalt shingles.
Yeah.
That looks like probably a later addition, that two-story bump out on the back. So it may not even. It's, the original wall is probably behind that bump out.
Meaning this this addition was built after 1836, probably, right? Yeah.
Yes.
Is that in the contributing structure or something?
No, they
Say
don't
anything about
describe the back. And I looked for some historic photos, and I can look for some, do some more searching, but I haven't found any that show that.
Can you hear us okay, Kevin? Sorry, I realize you're.
Yeah. Yes, I hear you.
You're just a word on a screen right now, so.
I don't know why it's not showing up on there.
Yeah.
We could ask them, do they know the date of
The add-on.
what's that, Kevin?
I agree with Ed on that. I bet you that's not part of the original structure. It's probably an add-on years ago.
And that's not written into the, it's too bad, because I think that might have was in the 70s when we did the original contributing structure list, right? I think that would have made it in there. But
Well, they were all rewritten in the second revision.
Yeah.
None of them. And that had much more detail than the first.
the second revision, okay. Yeah, so another one, Juan's property, they did a good job of identifying which were those two structures outside, and which was contributing, which wasn't. But maybe we can ask the applicant date of the addition and what materials under the shingles, and kind of riff from there. I guess I don't know what else to do. So they're proposing hardy plank, which is not specifically laid out here for historic resources. It just says what not to use. So I don't think it's precluded.
Well, the guidelines say don't exclude it. And I know that's what was used on Barbara Terry's tall building, which was not historic, but it was done in historic style.
Mhm. Is that, this is another thing, me not being an architect, is hardy plank with stucco above, is that a good look, or is that I don't know.
Well, I think so. I mean, a lot of these buildings evolved over time and different materials were used, and they weren't always wealthy people, so they used whatever they had on hand.
Yeah. So you said hardy plank is, what did you say about hardy plank? It's
Google Maps has it during the fire, or it's burned out. You don't see, it's this building here.
Yeah.
Is all hardy plank.
Okay.
So I think Landmarks has approved that in the past. It's when I was on Landmarks, we would advise that they turn the smooth side out because there's a fake wood grain side that doesn't read like real wood. So we suggested they use the smooth side out.
Okay.
Whenever that was considered.
Okay. So is there a variance here? I guess when they answer the questions, they'll know, right? So if the original siding is sitting underneath the shingles, we'll have some thinking to do, basically, right? Okay. Let's see. Hold on. Where replacement is necessary, the new siding shall match the original siding in size, placement, texture, material, and design. That's not the same material. So that's.
Well, we don't know what the original was.
Right.
Is fiber cement lap siding the same as hardy?
Yeah, hard to find the brand
Okay. It is.
and easier to stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's under alternate materials as for contributing structure, they're just for a new construction. That's. For the column. Under application far right. May be used to replace wooden lap siding on a contributing structure or on new construction. Okay. So that's legit. So it actually could be used to replace in accordance with the alternative materials. That's true.
I mean, presumably it's to replace siding, but I don't think anybody wants to keep the asphalt shingles.
So I don't think we have a variance here. Even if they say, let's say they remove the shingles and say it's German lap. Here it says siding shall match the original siding and size with the material, blah, blah, blah. But the alternative materials tells me I can use fiber cement lap siding to replace wooden lap siding on contributing structure or an extra, right? You guys follow me there?
Yeah.
I don't think we have a variance for the siding. I think we're silent.
Actually says it in here installs new side out. On
Is
the
it really?
table, yeah.
No, so maybe we just guide them. You
Well,
know,
we could
to
make it a
this.
condition
Okay,
if we want to.
so I don't think we have a variance here. But move on to next. But actually, are they doing anything with the roof?
I'm sorry,
Are they doing anything with the roof?
it's not listed in the
No, I thought they were, but I'm thinking they are not.
work to be performed.
Yeah. So I'll just confirm that they're not doing any work. How about that? Just confirm with them.
Or that the work is like.
So
Kevin, do
there-
you know if to do anything with the roof? Kevin?
Hey, had unmute me. I don't think I think the roof's already been done. I'll double check on that.
Okay. And then it looks, that's the other thing at the end. I thought there was a deck being built.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So that design, I think we need a lot more on that because I could not follow that sketch very well.
Yeah, I'd like to see detail of the, I mean, I think I understand it's just a basic platform made of pressure treated lumber. But I'd like detail of the railing. So
Yeah,
it says a metal railing. Does that mean?
Yeah. Okay.
Show us a picture.
I see what you're saying. Yes, I want to see detail of the railing and detail of the call them spokes, what are they called? Spindles, thank you.
The deck size is going to be 12 by 16. Is that different from what it currently is? We know that.
Kevin, do you know if the deck's getting bigger or smaller?
I think it's gonna be a tad bigger than that one.
Than what's there?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Sorry, I don't have that information in front of me.
Sorry.
It looks about 10 foot across. Based on the size of the doors. 2.5 foot.
This is 12 by 16. So I guess maybe it goes across the whole back. And the 12
Also,
is.
it doesn't look 12 feet deep, at least in this picture.
Is 12 foot the depth?
Well, 12 by 16. It doesn't look
Oh, okay.
either 12 or 16.
Yeah, that sounds like it.
Well, you know what? I think it is 16 this way because those are 8 feet. 8
So
feet.
that's probably.
So that's at 16. 12, 14.
And it says something about steps. Build steps 4 foot wide on the side of the deck.
Which I think is I think they're trying to say, here's my. So it's not coming out. It's gonna go. It's gonna come over here.
Why? If it's 16 foot, if the deck is 16 foot wide, I think that might be the width of the building. So I don't know if the steps are cut out from the deck. Sticking out, but probably ought to ask.
Yeah, you just need a better sketch of the deck.
Footprint of, all the stairs.
Let's say include details. Starting stairs. Spindles. And ramp. So with respect to the deck, is it are there any variances there?
Pattern and architectural style period of the building. Not be radically changed.
Decks constructed of unfinished pressure treated wood are strongly discouraged.
Well, I mean, they call it a porch, and there is a separate section, porches. You can see how
It just says they want a 6 by 6 inch wooden post instead of narrow metal support that they use. Design. No, 6 by 6. I think.
So porch, doors, staircases, and steps original to a property should be retained in their original location and configuration. These have been removed to replace the porch shall be restored to its original design.
I mean, we still look like a historic culvert down back here, right?
No,
So
um,
it is like. So. Number one, in standard for all properties in historic, deck shall be located at the rear of the building on a non-principal facade. And other areas not substantially visible from the public right of way. Inset a deck at least 6 inches from corners of the building to diminish its impact and differentiate it from the existing building.
So how do you know if it's a deck or a porch? 'Cause it's
here's
different.
how it's defined. A porch is a covered but unenclosed projection from the main wall of the structure. May or may not use columns or other ground supports for structural purposes. If a porch is uncovered, it's considered to be a deck.
Okay.
So a deck is a structure without a roof, accessory to but not necessarily attached to a principal structure, and which is elevated at least 6 inches above the roof. So even though they call it a porch, you know, it's a deck.
And we would know it if it happens in there somewhere.
So when the deck floor is more than 30 inches above grade, the area below the deck must be screened from public view, such as with plantings or lattice work. That's not in the design too. So do we have a variance? Is the question again.
Well, the standards for historic resources say there should be of wood with traditionally styled railings, which we don't know yet. They call them balustrades instead of standards. Right, that's the same thing.
Yep.
It does discourage pressure treated wood, but doesn't prohibit it.
Spring is unfinished pressure treated wood. So I think if you paint it or
So that's
stain it,
something we could
Yeah.
encourage.
Yeah.
If we can require it or not. Then, and it looks like they proposed the proper supports.
6x6 board, yeah.
So I don't.
But I think in number 2 above that, stands for all properties in the structure.
Mhm.
Inset a deck at least 6 inches from corners of the building. So I think they're gonna, it looks like they're going the extent of the building. We can, once we get the sketch, we can understand that better. But that might be a variance. And then.
Or a condition of approval.
Yeah.
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 I mean, I'd be surprised if they cover up this electrical panel that's on the corner. But they may want to run the deck all the way to the other side, but we can.
So it might be, once we get the information, we'll get a better sketch and we can talk about that. Okay, so I'm going to just request a view from above and the side so we can see steps, stairs, include details. Let's say a view from above and the side to scale. So we can see steps, stairs, with details regarding stairs, spindles, balusters, and railings. windows and balusters. That's not the design of the building. Okay. You had said there, you said something the other day about, so here's my baluster spindle, so, and here's the, so they should be underneath and above the, when you said. that
Yeah,
the
it's,
kind of-
the language isn't there, but if you look at Chris Quarter's, his are done the right way.
Yeah.
They're, I think they call it toting in.
Mhm.
But if you look at, I think this fence on the restaurant is done in the California style. where
Okay.
it's
Yeah, it's on the
back on the
outside,
outside.
yeah.
And that's, I'd like to see us discourage.
Yeah.
That.
Okay, so that's not necessarily specific in here, but
Well, it says
the style,
traditionally styled railings,
right?
which I don't think that's a traditionally styled railing.
Okay. Anything more on decks? You guys. No. All right, windows. Oh Lord. I tried my best to understand what's happening with windows here. And I labeled them. It'll be easier to talk about. So like on the, what's the best picture? Probably this one, okay. So there's a couple window, there's a double window here. I call that window A. Double window here, B. There's a single window down there next to the door. That's C.
Well, there's this one, which is covered.
Right, that's the one they're proposing to just slide over, right?
Right.
Not this one.
Right.
Okay,
Well, that's my understanding.
yeah. And then there's this one here too, so that's D. So there's 2 doubles and 2 singles. Well, no, is that
It's a double.
that is a double. 3 doubles and 1 single. And then the one that's boarded up that will be sided over. All right, so then when I try to match, I just don't know how to match those with what's in here, and I'd like them to kind of give us a guide. If we could.
Well, my take was. Well, I don't, is there a difference? I mean, they're all the lifestyle, which I looked up and it's an aluminum clad wood window.
And this is from, are these Pella? I think she said they're Pella.
I think that's true.
Kevin, do you know, are these Pella? Do you remember? You have a photographic memory of these
Yeah,
applications?
it says WTS Pella LS window.
Yeah, I think they are Pella.
Yep, all right. That's aluminum clad. All right. So I did,
So
I don't know what the dimensions of these are versus what's going in. So it would be nice to get I think I put that in with the sketch for the doors, like better sketch of what's.
or we could just ask the question, are the windows the same size
Right.
as what's present? And we don't know the material of the present windows. Are they original windows? It looks like they have some storms or screens over them.
And are they,
And are the divided lights the same? It's kind of, it looks like these, if they're original, have a single.
in the double on top? 2/1.
I think it's 2/2.
This looks 2/2, but I think that one's 2/2.
And the sash could be raised, so that's hard.
Yeah,
And I mean, the pictures they show, show a single. Mold. To match what's there.
Right. So we can confirm. So the question is basically straight from here, are the windows in their original location, size, design, and number of panes? Because that's
I don't understand. It looks like the second floor is a bump out a little bit. You see that?
Mhm.
the side on this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
without flexible shingles that can wrap around that.
Yeah,
I don't know if it's a bump out or if that's where the shingles are bulging.
Yeah, it could be.
it says historic window openings shall not be eliminated from the principal facade of the buildings. Now it says window openings shall not be added. Is it? This is where I wish like I'm in the Victoria Bradshaw or Mike Kennedy, like, okay, double, single. Should it be double?
Well, we wouldn't change what's there. We're not
Okay,
trying to impose symmetry where there wasn't symmetry.
okay. So then the covering up of the window. Okay,
Well, it's two things. I mean, it's already been covered over, so there's some precedent.
Mhm.
The other is determining whether this is even a contributing bump out or not. You know, are we preserving? What are we preserving?
yeah,
My concern, and maybe something we want to take to landmarks, unlike hardy plank siding, aluminum clad windows are only allowed on non-contributing structures to replace original windows. If you look at that table.
Yeah.
so
And we never did get.
So you have a meeting scheduled for next week.
on this,
Yes, assuming the agenda was turned in today.
Okay, so it says if the original was wooden sash windows, then aluminum clad wooden sash windows may be used to replace on a non-contributing structure or new construction. So it's kind of silent about if these are not historic windows. And this allow aluminum clad.
similar design space promise with the style of the building and convey traditional appearance consistent with surrounding historic structures. Criteria. Materials may be considered uncontributing structures when original exterior features are damaged beyond repair or are missing and no other technical or economically feasible options available. material shall not be considered as a viable replacement if the material does not convey the same appearance as the original or retained materials, or if it is not physically or chemically compatible with the retained materials. If it can be demonstrated that traditional material details and profiles, texture, shadow lines can be replicated, substitute materials may be considered. It's certainly an improvement with these handwrites. That last sentence, it can be demonstrated that traditional material details and profiles, textures, and shadow lines can be replicated. Substitute materials may be considered. Just don't want to keep doing that. But in this case,
Well, I don't, yeah, we just don't know the history of the windows that are there,
Yeah.
so. If they are historic windows, I think they should be preserved. I find it unlikely. We should ask.
okay. I guess my question is, are the current windows original to the structure? And then,
To the 18 historic structure, the 1820 historic structure.
I guess I'm not, you have to answer that would be question about the bump out
Right.
first, so.
Because things would be really simplified, I think the bump out's not historic. I mean, we still want, it is so prominent, we still want it to read as period appropriate. But we're not trying to save any historic material.
Okay.
And do you have the question about what the whole OSB grid is on the drawing?
No.
I don't know.
I gotta think it's underneath the siding, right?
I'm wondering if RAP is WRAP. Like they proposed to wrap the house in
760.
OSB, which makes sense, and then put the siding on it. That would be my hope, but
Yeah.
if we approve it and then they apply 2x6 studs on the outside with a piece of OSB, it would look like that. Yeah, I think you're right. I think it is probably the underlayment.
Okay. So for windows, I've got the current windows original to this 1836 structure. And then the materials, what are the materials of the original window of the windows you're replacing, I guess? I suspect it's a so let's say the bump out is not a contributing part of the contributing structure. It's not part of the 1836 structure. So they're taking whatever windows out and putting something else in aluminum clad. So I don't think that's a variance.
No,
Right.
no, I think they can change the size of the windows. They can use aluminum clad without a variance.
Yeah. Original windows may be repaired, or if repair is not feasible, replace with new windows appropriate to the period, materials, and style of the building. So. I think no matter what you're doing, if you're not putting in wood windows, you're asking, I think, for
I don't think if it's a
the non-contributing, okay, yeah, okay. Or new construction.
and if it's not contributing, then I think aluminum clad is kind of pre-approved as a suitable.
Yeah.
Alternative.
So are we considering this contributing or non-contributing, the structure that was added on
We're gonna have to get clarification from the owner.
for the date?
And maybe put that question to Landmarks for their meeting. I'll probably send an email to them. See if they got any research on that or data. Would be very helpful. Okay.
So I think the last piece is the covering. The
The covering.
covering of the window.
Yeah. With the siding.
If it's a historic window opening, it's already been covered. I know what they did on the McGee's house. They wanted to put an in-law suite, and the bathroom was going to have to go right where a window was. And so rather than try to cover the window, they put closed shutters on the outside to read like there was a window there.
But there wasn't, they put the wall.
Mhm.
Just,
I thought that was a look around.
um, so I don't know where the historic window opening should not be eliminated from the principal facade of the building. That's what.
Okay, so
That's
this
not-
isn't
That's not the principal
debatable
facade.
whether it's
I know.
possible.
I know. And it might not be in historic resorts.
Right.
So,
And it's certainly looks to me to be kind of thrown together. I mean, it doesn't have any of the elegance of the front of that building and symmetry.
Yeah, the windows don't have any symmetry at all.
Yeah, they're actually different sizes.
yeah. I think we'll have to be prepared in the hearing just to understand what's going on there when we get the information back. And I could look at the Landmarks about the covering of the window. I can address that specifically for us.
Yeah, it's just weird that there's one window on the right side and two on the left, and not the same distance from anything.
Yes, it's like they had some old windows they used on the
Someone's
back.
being very resourceful.
Yeah,
And they went on the inside, of the back.
But did they like
The windows that
put the
way.
hole in the wall? It was like, just, hey, I got this window.
which is totally unlike the front.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna repeat what I'm doing, just so we can So Kevin's gonna need some good guidance here. So better sketch to scale. So this is doors and it intersects with windows too. Better sketch to scale showing door and window positions. And request that. We'd like a photo of the actual door.
Could we say, or confirmation that the windows are the same size and position?
Yes, but we still have the door. We don't know where the door is. I guess.
Right, but for the windows, I mean, do we want to force them to get up on a ladder and measure and try to measure what's there? If they could just simply say that the windows are going to be the same size and position as the original.
Okay. Yep. Better idea. Thanks.
I am encouraged by your proposal.
Yeah. Like a photo of the actual door, justification of those two variances I talked about in items 2 and 3 in appendix A. I'll write those out. And for siding, we were asking what is under the shingles. Maybe I'll ask this question first. What's the date of the addition? Yeah, that's the first question. What is under the shingles? And I think I just wrote smooth side out from my own notes. There's no variance. We'll maybe add a condition. But that's nothing I'll convey in this email. For the deck, requested a view from above and side to scale so we can see steps, stairs. Please include details regarding stairs, spindles, and balusters and railing.
Do you want to know if it's different from the current size of the deck?
That's true. I don't know what the existing deck
Yeah,
is.
because we want to make
yeah.
sure it's 6 inch.
Yeah.
Is,
So how many is it, please?
so hopefully the plan would show where it actually butts up against the building.
Yeah. And I'll please also indicate the size. The existing. Okay. And then windows.
Did you also know the questions about the railing and balusters?
I said include details regarding stairs, spindles / balusters, and railing. So maybe instead of construction details, how about that? I'll say that construction details for the stairs, the spindles and balusters, and the railing, the stair railing.
Well, I guess I wouldn't know what you, if I got that, I wouldn't know what you meant. How many nails per inch we're going to put in?
Yeah.
How the joinery is going to be.
It's a visual. So
Well, we need more detail about what they're going to look like.
yeah. Include visual details regarding stairs, spindles. Windows, I put our current windows original to the 1836 structure. What is the material of the windows that are being replaced? And that's all I have, because it's once we know about the date of the addition, that might inform more questions or not. So everybody at the debate?
This calls them balusters.
Balusters, okay. I'm not going to use the word spindles, I'll just use balusters. So I learned that they're not called spindles. I learned that Washington Street is not Washington Street. What I
Well,
thought
this
it
one
was.
says 4 pickets.
Yeah,
It's Pickets on a fence though.
so a lot of this will revolve around the age of that.
Yeah,
additional
I know.
deck.
I know.
Yeah, I don't know if there's a way to say. What's the age of the addition? If the addition is not original to the building, answer these questions. Otherwise,
If it is, answer these, I know.
there's a lot of detail that would be.
Dave, you go send me an email.
Yep,
I have an alarm call to run.
okay. Yeah,
so
I'll
I'm
get
gonna-
it, Kevin. I'll try to get that ready for you tomorrow.
I got most of the notes. Yeah, if you give me that and I'll get right on it.
Okay, thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else? That's good.
I move that we adjourn.
I second. All those in favor? That's all. It's gonna be less than an hour. It was not- Made our hearing shorter, I think, by doing this.
Or at least we can complete our hearing.
Yeah.